Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Guess the WN8, when my viewers submit replays to me and I have to guess their stats based solely on their gameplay. If there's another paid replay, you can always guarantee that your replay is used by using the paid submission link in the description. It's a mouse! A squeaky mouse on Malanovka! Here's an old map. Can we go back to the days when the mouse just charged across the field because it was one of the only tier 10 heavy tanks in the game? Was it the E100? Just go yellow across the field. Oh, hang on, we are going in that direction though. Okay, and I like it in chat. Mouse wanna troll and rush. No big TD. Okay, we're considering a bit of logic. Let me get my audio working here. We're considering a bit of logic. Right? No big TD. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that this guy's looked at the team list and made a conclusion. Like, legitimately, I'm surprised because that seems to be a thing that eludes a great deal of the player base. Now, firing on the move here with 0.36 accuracy and a 2.1 second aim time is somewhat questionable. That is 0 damage from an Object 261, very interesting. What's also interesting here is 3,270 hit points. And I say that because the base is 3,000. Which means that if this guy was using improved hardening in a hardening slot, then it would go up by 10% and it would be 3,300. The fact that it's 3,270 implies to me that he's got improved hardening in a slot other than survivability. So, a little odd, but Mouse is being Mouse here and just shoving its way across the open. Kinda love it. The other mouse has gone and sat on a Object 907 or whoever that was back there. We've already blocked like 4,000 points of damage at this point. And we aren't expecting the need to angle our target. Let's remember the dynamic difference between the mouse and the E100 in terms of turret armor, right? You got 260, I think, on the front of the mouse's turret, right, on the face, whereas the E100 nowadays has 280. 280! And yes, the E100 side turret is 150, and the mouse side turret is 210, so you can certainly over-angle in a mouse in a way that you can't do in an E100. But I mean, this is mouse. Yeah, it's rare nowadays that you get an opportunity to do this, but you gotta appreciate when you do. Give me an on the move. You're stopping to aim at a 40T? The S key is a sin at this point. There is nothing on the enemy team save a metric ass ton of bullshit that can kill you at this point. So I would just hit the R key 3 times and just go. Scout Mouse is coming out. I'm surprised that the ELC wasn't in the middle of the field, to be honest. Although I did not look at the light tanks dispersion at the start, so don't know what to tell you about that one. This replay's aggravating because I'm getting very little to sort of judge or base a conclusion off of. Merging the RT, always love to see that. And we're working. Oh, I didn't look at top speed actually, but as we're getting to over 20 uphill, we can assume that this mouse is using a turbocharger because top speed of 20, and we were over that going up a hill, so not really much in the way of questions there. Supplementary information: we got 400 meters of view range. Yay! We weigh almost 200 tons. We got 200 millimeters of hull armor. Oh my word! And the team actually reset the cap for it. Okay, we're angling the target, we're angling the hole. I like it. We're murdering coders, I like that even more. Ooh, 277 actually connecting. Good for him. Can pen the upper plate. We want to respect the heat pen at this point. And we should die here, logically, but if we angle the tongue, over angle. Oh, and that is lucky. Poor final shot by the 277 there. What you should have been doing is over-angling. We know he had heat, so instead of trying to angle back this way and just giving him a shot at the lower plate, instead of that, angle outwards. Give him fang heat, give him sort of that angle. Like, at that angle, heat doesn't pin the side, and it has a decent chance of bouncing off the lower plate if he connects with it too. And the more you angle, like up to about maybe here, any further, and you can probably get penned by heat. But obviously the target wants to be angled further out this way as well. But it's a legitimate strategy that you can use in the mouse and the E100, to be honest, is over-angling, because people will fire heat at you. And he hates spaced armor, so you just present a really severe angle on the side and they still can't pen it with heat, and the places that they normally would be able to pen are now going to bounce them as well. So, worth noting, I genuinely have no idea. Like, I do not know. Upper side is not spaced though. On the mouse, the upper side is not spaced. Oh my god, you're right. What? Really? Oh my god, I'm learning! I've become a person with more knowledge. Thank you, Twitch chat. Huzzah! What? Hey, it's amazing. Twitch chat did a good thing. Okay, 340 heat pen. Let's see, am I talking bollocks? Let's see. I mean, you can still... Oh my word, you get like 50% way earlier than I would expect. Way earlier than I'd expect if you go high. Of course, it's going to be absorbed by the tracks, but I always thought this was spaced armor. On the side, it's actually not. It's just the base 185. Wow, okay. And I assume that's markedly different on the E100. Let's compare... Once again, 113 heat. Look at that. And this is even more over-angled than the mouse, but because it has spaced armor, I mean, look at that, even at that angle. But on the mouse, it's like 50% or higher. Wow, that's incredible. I never knew that. Thank you, Kodai. That's awesome information. I'll be using that. 54. I'm going to go like 53 point... I'll note down my exact number. 53.12. And I will go with 1,600. Alright, come on. I didn't have much to go on. Please be like 53. God damn it. Wait, did that break the rules? Wait, maybe I can get away with not playing him. Hang on, it might have broken the rules. It's in the rules that the game has to be 5 minutes long. God damn it, it's 5:30. No! Replay, a page replay from General Disturbance in his Object 261. The most accurate RT in-game, one of the best aim times in any RT in the entire game. Potentially the best aim time, though don't take my word on that. Go and do some research, like a flat earther. They do research. I'm going to move on from that topic very swiftly. 261, what can we tell you about it? Well, I can tell you that we're back on Malinovka. And we're feeling good about that in a 261 because what do we want to avoid? Well, we want to avoid buildings. Buildings are an enemy to the 261 like they are an enemy to almost no other arty because it's flat. This thing is King Knightley at the age of 40, lying spread on a bed. It is flat, unremarkable, flat like the earth. I am going to rewind in order to get engine noises, not that it's probably going to be of huge relevance in a piggy, but what I'm talking about is the arc. When you fire this thing, this 180mm gun, that shell will fly very low and straight to the target. Hello, Jock! Benefits of that: relatively fast shell travel time. If we're comparing to some of the British, I mean, even the Germans, the French arties, the Russians, particularly the 261, those shells are going to get to the target in the vicinity of like 0.5 to a second quicker if you're talking about any kind of distance, right? Because they take that flatter arc. You have those bunch of shells going up there, the German shells going up here, the Americans going here, and then the Russians go like there. So that's the benefit. The negative is that unlike a CGC or a Burt or a Bishop, a Crusader SP, you ain't lobbing shells up over concealment, over locks, right? If you are on the enemy team and you see that the enemy RT is a 261, you know that cover is actually cover. If you look on the enemy team and see that it's a contra gun carriage, then, well, if you're in a big map and it's shooting from 800 meters away, that shell's going to come in from this angle and you're kind of fucked. But, I mean, this is why you win the windmill on Madanovka when there's RT in the game, because exactly this. I wish I could move the camera, but both teams are getting absolutely hammered by RT, and they would have RT cover if they could win the windmill. But let's talk about also the 261 is the most accurate artillery in the entire game. It has an accuracy of 0.59, which, when it comes to tanks, is abysmal. When it comes to RT, is absolutely fantastic. Blend that with a 4.5 second aim time, you can sort of see that this RT is a precision machine. It is very, very good for consistency. Not necessarily huge amounts of damage, although you can get the occasional pen. You got 4mm of pen on AP with like 520 damage. But consistency. Hitting those shots again and again and again at a decent regularity. Like, this thing reloads pretty damn quickly for a tier 10 arty. And that's what it does. That's the unique attribute that it offers at tier 10 as an arty. And it's certainly in the list, in the contention, right, of the top arty in the entire game. For me, that list would probably consist of CGC, M55, M55, and probably the 261. Like, those are the top 3 arty in my book. Is that Sphere a setting in the game? I've never seen it before. No, that is a part of Aslan's mod pack, is what that is. And look at these, I don't think we've missed a shot yet. And that is very much to be expected, as I say, because I wax lyrical about the accuracy and consistency of the 261. Now, I'm curious as to why there's a lack of movement. I know General Disturbance is a very regular RT player, but what I do in the RT, although it's not been particularly apparent in this game, is I cover ground. And even when in a tank like this that has such a quick reload for what it's providing, using 10 seconds after you fire a shell to relocate closer to the enemy, 2 damage, could have had him in this position by now. right? Around here, maybe closer up to the center, something like that. And that would take 0.5 of a second off the shell travel time. It would change that 2 damage to the shell hits quicker, and you do 100 to 200 damage, right? And it's something that you should be doing in RT is if you have the opportunity and it's not dangerous, you should be closing the distance to the enemy in a lot of artillery. It is slightly dependent, like we talked about the gun arc of the 261, right? And so if you're on a city map, being closer to tanks in a city is not something that you want to do. But in open land, completely unobstructed, reducing this distance number from like 1,000 to 600 would really benefit your ability to lead shells, even in a 261, which, your shells are going to get there very quickly. Can you imagine shooting 1,000 meters in a Conqueror gun carriage? That shell travel time is going to be closer to 4 seconds, if not longer. Like, it is a habit that you should get into. While you are reloading in RT, you're doing 2 things, or you should be doing 2 things. Looking at the map and following the direction of the wind. Alright? What I mean by that is you look at the map and you say, okay, where does my team have an advantage? Oh, okay, the T-92 and Chuffiter both drowned themselves. Okay, wonderful. Of course! Why would I expect anything else? So you look at the map and you say, where's my team winning? You do this in regular tanks as well, but it's especially underappreciated in artillery. If your team is winning the North line, let's just use a hypothetical example here. Your team's winning this area on Mali. In between shells, you relocate. You relocate up behind the main force of your team. As they push down here and they progress, you take position behind them. Not only does it get you out of your spawn point where the enemy will be looking for you if they break through a light tank or a medium, right? But it also provides you unexpected angles, particularly pertinent in city maps, Nuremberg, Himmelsdorf, things like this, right, if you follow your team. And it also opens up the opportunity in late game situations for you to be closer to the enemy cap, for you to put up cap pressure and provide a winning circumstance for your remaining tanks, right? And someone in chat, DJ in chat says, CGC is best used at max range. And there's merit to that because of arc, right? The further away you are from your target, the greater the severity or the greater the angle the shell will land, right? This can aid in penetrations, right? You are more likely to pen vehicles if you are at distance because of the angle that shell is coming in. But you've got to balance that with that shell travel time, right? Because these shells go so high, distance means you're more likely to miss entirely, right? So it's always a balancing act, and it is, you can use a certain element of judgment and a certain amount of experience playing that individuality to make that judgment. I always refer to RT as a fundamentally two-dimensional class, and it very much is. But there are some things that you can do to mildly elevate your gameplay. They're not perceptible things to a lot of people, but, if you're an avid RT player, they're things that you want to mix into your gameplay, certainly. Right. To be honest, I don't feel that much of a difference if the RT in my team is skilled or not. And that is why they are a two-dimensional class, and they are bad for the game. They are not fun to play, nor fun to play against. And that is their ultimate curse. What do I think? I have absolutely no idea. Alex, I have no idea. And this is a fundamental problem when it comes to RT. It is impossible to judge. It is more or less impossible to put a Like, I always say this, you can put a bad player in Arty next to a good player in Arty, and I will not know which is which. There are remarkably few indications, general disturbance pointing out a few in chat, like indicating to your team communication. I've covered relocation. But these are things that every single other class in the game, the light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, take for granted as an inherent requirement of the bare minimum of the class. Right? Relocation, communication, aiming. Like, these are... that's just the default. It's not an elevation. It's not a challenge. It is the bare minimum of what's required in every single other class in the game. And yet, when we're covering Arty, we're talking about them as if they're massively skill-based and relevant things, because they are when it comes to Arty, because it's all they have. Right? And that genuinely is a shame. I've talked many times about how Arty could be changed into a more skill-based class, and it's genuinely a shame that it's in the state that it is currently. That said, I just gotta hazard a guess. 50, because it's like average win rate. I want to go like, I don't know, I'll just go exactly 50. Purely because statistically it's more likely that he's around there somewhere. I am absolutely, just to be clear, I have no clue. Okay, let's see. 53, okay. Man's doing some work. Getting a little better recently. Always like to see that. WN8 staying very stagnated though. I got within 250 of the WN8. Yay! Go me! Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll thank you very much for joining me for a recording session for this. Please do look in the description for the next and previous episodes in this series. Also, if you want to guarantee that I use your replay, you can use the paid link in the description, or you can go to the Discord, also linked in the description, and you can submit for free for this or the other series that we do, higher or lower. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
You better never ever shoot versus the man, cause that's a jerk off his hand, hence you're a permanent ban, yep. Like in a roleplay game, you wield a dagger but get smashed from half a globe away. But don't worry, mate. He's sorry, you could have known though. It's all the same story, you better not berate him. He is living in the country next to the US with oil fields.